Hi, it's Sandy Wyllie. Welcome to my mental health channel, You Got This, where I wipe away the stigma of mental illness by talking about my own personal struggles as a former patient having borderline personality disorder. I talk about schizophrenia, narcissism, post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety, panic attacks, depression, and a plethora of other mental health topics. But I only talk about them as a former patient. I am not a professional therapist, not a licensed therapist. I don't practice therapy. I don't hold a psychology degree even. So I can't give you a professional opinion, only a personal one. And all I ask of you is please be kind in the comments, be kind to me, be kind to other people who comment, and be kind to yourself. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. And if you like what you see, give it a thumbs up. Now today, the topic of today's video is, can mental illness be cured? Can borderline personality be cured? Can schizophrenia be cured? And I'm going to give you my non-professional opinion of that. You can always look these things up yourself, but I bring my own personal experiences here and share it very intimate and detailed and graphic sometimes struggles that I've been through of my life. Now, in my personal opinion, borderline personality disorder, schizophrenia, a lot of other mental illnesses cannot be cured, but they can be put into remission. Just like when you have cancer, right? You can go into remission and sorry about that. I'm tilt-a-whirl here. You can go into remission, and sometimes the cancer will not come back, and other times the cancer will come back. So my personal belief from my own experiences with myself at almost 60 years old, with my dad having schizophrenia, me having borderline personality disorder, is there is no cure. But it can go in remission. You can manage the symptoms, okay, so that you will not suffer from, that my dad, when he was on medication, he managed the symptoms and he went in remission so that he was not suffering the symptoms, the hallucinations, the hearing the voices, the psychotic rages. And when I'm in remission, which I have been, I don't think all black or white. I don't have borderline rage where I'm acting impulsively, hurting myself or hurting someone else. So I can manage those symptoms, but I can be in remission, but then something might come along. Like I was in remission after I quit therapy and got away from being sexually assaulted from my therapist, physically assaulted and verbally. My borderline symptoms went in remission, but then something happened. My son was brutally beaten, and then the borderline in me came out full throttle. Also, I have post-traumatic stress disorder from that incident. So I am no longer, I would say, in remission. So, in my belief, there is no cure for certain mental illness. Just like there might not be cures like for pancreatic cancer. I heard through the grapevine there really is no cure for that type of cancer. That if you get it, it really is a death sentence. Now, don't quote me. Okay, I've only known people who've had pancreatic cancer, and they told me that there's no cure. It's a death sentence. People who had the disease told me this. So I'm not, if you're reading from some medical journal or you're saying that's not true, remember this is only my opinions and of my own experience, because I've known people who had that cancer, several people. So some illnesses cannot be cured, mental illness and other illnesses, but in my opinion, mental health illnesses, certain ones can go in remission. Schizophrenia is one of them. I've seen it with my dad. When my dad was on his medication, he seemed like the most normal, caring, compassionate dad. He would listen to me. We would go to ball games together. We would go to the beach together. We go to fancy restaurants and eat. He'd take me horseback riding. I was very close. Every night, he would listen to me for hours. My mother was very abusive. She never listened to me. She just ignored me. She beat me up. She belittled me. She called me stupid, dumb, and just horrendous abuse. But my dad, when he was on his medication, he really was like, the symptoms were under control, but he still had the schizophrenia, see? But he was managing the symptoms on medication. Now, I don't take any medication, okay? I have to tell you, I have a terrible UTI and I'm on antibiotics. But for my mental illness, I don't take any medication for my borderline personality disorder. So when I've been in remission, that means that I personally have had a grip on my symptoms myself, without therapy, without medication. I had a personal grip on my symptoms. I was much able to be able to look at a situation and not fly off the handle or react, not become all or nothing, that kind of thing. And I was doing that for a while when I got away from the therapist that sexually abused me. When I got away from that abuse, I was handling my borderline personality disorder pretty well on my own. Like I told you, I'm not on medication. But then when my son was brutally beaten, that all came back. The borderline in me came back like 1,000 times. So I did completely, I became black or white thinking, all or nothing thinking. And I'll give you an example is like, the man that beat my son was a colored man. And now I'm prejudiced against that type because I'm just being totally honest, because of my borderline thinking. I'm all or nothing. So because this man was colored and he brutally beat, tortured, I mean, it was horrific. It was really horrific. He had to be hospitalized. Because of that, I have post-traumatic stress disorder. And, whenever I see a man of color that, I get very shaken, and I don't trust, because I'm borderline, I don't trust it. Anyone could say, like if I wasn't borderline, for instance, someone would say, it had nothing to do with his color. It could have been an Oriental person. It could have been a Caucasian person. It could have been anyone, it had nothing to do. But because I have borderline personality disorder, I only see it as black or white. So because someone of that race, brutally assaulted my son, I see everyone as that, because of that all or nothing thinking, I see everyone as that race is bad now. And I become very prejudiced. And I see it because my son is in a new place. It's a pretty good place. It's only like 15, 20 minutes from our home. It's in Brighton. And for the most part, we're happy. He has a humongous bedroom all to himself. It's like the house is over $1 million. I mean, it has fireplaces in every room. It's really nice house, and they have pretty good staff. But they recently hired this person that looks similar and reminds me of the monster who beat my son. So automatically I'm prejudiced against this person because he reminds me. I'm having post-traumatic stress disorder. I'm also, because I'm borderline, I'm classifying him as a bad person, even though I don't know anything about him. I just know what he looks like. That's it. Just on his race. Just on his looks. You know, he has those glasses. You know, and when I come in to visit my son, he kind of give me lewd looks like, I don't know. It could be all, I don't know. It just makes me so uncomfortable. It makes me so anxious. I'm having panic attacks. I'm stressed out over this, you know, and it's bringing back my borderline personality. So I'm out of remission now. I'm full-fledged, you know, all those symptoms, all those splitting. Splitting is just saying everything is one way or the other way. Either I love you or I hate you. That's splitting. Either you're a great person or you're a horrible person. There's no gray area. You can't be like, people are both good and bad. You know, there's no gray area in that. And since this happened to my son, I see that I've gone out of remission in my borderline personality, and all of that, you know, that psychotic rage is full force. That splitting, that black or white thinking, it's all come back. So what happens is you can, you know, go into remission either with medication or either through therapy if you get a good therapist, or either through your own healing yourself, your own inner work. Like I've done a lot of my own inner work. You can do that for your own inner work on yourself, and then you can go in remission and not have the symptoms anymore of the mental illness or personality disorder or whatever you want to say. They can like leave you so that you're, you know, kind of clear of them for a time. Like you're in remission, you're kind of clear of it. You're not showing any of the symptoms of it anymore. But then something can come along, like it did with me, like with my son. My son is a handicap. He's severe. He's an invalid. He needs help going to the bathroom. He can't do anything by himself. He has very limited language, and you know, it's just really sad that people like that hurt people that can't defend themselves. And this was a big, you know, he was a huge, you know, very big, large man, and my son is skinny and you know, severely handicapped, an invalid. Imagine someone doing that to an invalid that can't, you know, I mean, it's really, I don't think I'll ever recover fully from that. So I'll always, but that's just, I'm working on it. Day in and day out, I'm working on, you know, trying to recover. But then now I'm not doing well at all because, you know, I'm having flashbacks, and someone there reminds me, you know, the way he looks at me, because that guy wore glasses too, who beat my son, that monster. And this guy is black and wears glasses too. And this guy looks at me lewdly like that guy. You know what I mean? And it gives me, you know, I feel like I just want to distance myself. I mean, I can't really deal with it. I'm hating the person. I never even spoke to the person. I don't know anything about the person except there are new staff there, but already I hate them and I feel unsafe, and it feels like a very dangerous situation. But, you know, there's nothing I can do. I can't, you know, complain. What am I going to say? Oh, this person looks a certain way, so, you know, I'm not happy. So I'm just stressing myself out talking about it, so I just want to stop. I've been very, very sick. I've had a UTI. I can't even walk. I'm in severe pain. But I still push through the pain and come on here and do a video every day, even though I can barely walk. And I'm, you know, I don't sleep all night. I'm on antibiotics. Unfortunately, I'm allergic to Motrin and Advil, so I can't take any pain medication for the pain. But so that's my answer. You can go into remission with some of these things, and you can manage them on your own, manage the symptoms. And it can feel like, you know, you no longer are borderline, you know. But you can have reoccurrences where, you know, you will go out of remission. Your symptoms will come back if something, you know, like a life crisis, like what I went through with my handicapped son. If a life crisis comes along, it can set you back. But it doesn't mean if you are set back, if a life crisis comes along and you are set back like me, that you have to stay there. You can still do the inner work on yourself and try to pull yourself out of that. So I hope this was helpful for you. I always try to share everything with you. I do my best to help people by speaking about my own personal struggles so people feel like they're not alone, that we all, you know, on the same journey, right? I mean, we're not on the same path, but we're here on this journey, you know, of life on the physical earth. The physical side of it, I don't know about the other side of it. I don't know.